Good afternoon. Hello. It says it's live and recording, but I don't see anything showing up on my computer. So here I am. It's live now, but I don't see it on my computer. So let me know if you are here. It is Monday, March 7th, 2022. And it's a rainy, ugly day here. So it's been kind of crazy around here because I tend to get a little bit of moisture in my basement when we have rainy days. So it's all cleaned up now and it's pretty much all gone. So I feel like I'm stamping on the fly today because of what I was going to do. I changed my mind. And then I had an appointment and just so much stuff going on. But I certainly did not want to cancel or postpone my live stream today. So you are either watching me on Facebook or watching me on YouTube. And it does say that I'm connected. Hi, Gloria. Thank you for being here. Okay, Gloria, let me ask you, do you see my face or do you see my hands? I've made some setting changes and I wasn't quite sure if I pushed all the right buttons. So it really doesn't make any difference as long as you can see my hands. So I'm going to make sure that I'm down on my workstation here so I can create. And it's not a big deal whether you see my face today or not because I was out in the rain. You saw my hands. That's good. Okay. That's the most important thing, is to see my hands. And then I'll have to figure out what I did to make some changes on my screen. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and get started. And I would love to see comments since I'm streaming to both places now. Let's see, now it shows that some is not, there it is, back to blue. Good morning, Margaret. Hi, Francine. All right, just so you can see my hands, that's the most important part. Then I'll figure out by next week what I changed, what I put in the wrong place. So that doesn't make any difference. Anyway, welcome. I love comments. And if you are new here, let me know where you're from. Let's see, I appreciate that. So what I'm going to show today, first of all, my name's Pat Mayer. I'm a demonstrator in Northeast Ohio, where it is cold and rainy today. And yesterday it was sunny and springtime. So what can I say? That's what we do in Northeast Ohio, especially in March. Nevertheless, let's move on. Right now we have some promotions going, and just to touch base on these, this one is the all together one with a bundle of stamps and dies that will not be carried over. This is just while supplies last. However, these blends that are skin tone blends will be in the next catalog. They've been so popular since the beginning of February that they are on back order. So here is the full suite of products. I think I showed some things with this paper. The paper alone is amazing. It's black and white. You can color it. You can do lots of different things with it. And this is so timely with the little hearts for the hands and the pinky fingers holding together. And You Matter, Here for You. It's a great, great bundle of products. But again, the natural tones or skin tones will carry over into the next catalog. And next is Waves of the Ocean, which I had originally intended to show. Margaret, you're from Sydney, Australia. Oh my gosh, Thank you so much for being here in Ohio. I've heard about the floods that are there. That's terrible. We've had some flooding around here just from the heavy rain today. But then we may have some snow tonight, which will make the rain go away. So thank you so much for joining. The Waves of the Ocean bundle will carry over, let's get over here, into the next catalog. And that's just the stamp set and the dies. The beautiful paper, the foils, and the rhinestones are only while supplies last. So that is unfortunate, but you can grab those now and have them and then save this part for when the catalog comes out. I had originally intended to show a card. I think I showed the card a few weeks ago. That Stampin' Up! Had provided some of the information on how to make it. And I did one, and I was playing around with it yesterday. And then I decided to do something else because that's just the way I am. But anyway, this paper is absolutely incredible. If you've ever heard of paint pouring, where you just pour paint on a canvas and it creates designs, that's what they did to create this paper. So that's my plan for next week, when I hopefully will be a little bit more organized, won't have weather issues, and won't schedule something else on a Monday, which I should not have done. So anyway, that's that. And then this is Savings in Bloom. This just went into effect last Tuesday, and this is going through the end of March. And the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss is on sale for 20% off. In fact, all of these bundles are 20% off. And I'm showing it here on the paper. Let's see, I don't think you're going to see that up on the screen. But even some things that were bundled before, there we go, are now bundled again together and are 20% off. So this is an amazing deal on any of these. And all of these dies can be run through the mini cut and emboss, which I am going to show today. So that's what we have going there. Now, what am I going to do today? I fell in love with this bundle. I've had it for a while, but hadn't used it. But I was creating something to show to my team, and I used the Artfully Composed suite of products. And it's a whole suite that includes stamps and dies, some pretty frayed ribbon, these amazing faux sea glass shapes. Hi, Linda, welcome. Some layering vellum designs and some amazing paper. And that's on page 32 and 33 in the mini catalog. And these will go through June. Sadly, this is on back order right now, but the project that I'm going to show you today, you could use for any of your things that you have in your stash. It's a basic layout using some scraps, and that's what I wanted to use up. So it's due in, I believe, next week. Some things that were due in today have been pushed back a week, and I don't know if it's weather related or possibly still with the supply chain issues that we are having. So anyway, this will just take me away to some tropical island. Love to be there. So that is that. Now let me show you the little Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. It is a mini. It will only take dies and paper that are about 3 inches in width, as compared to our larger Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, which is twice the price. But so many of the dies that you may have or that you see in the catalog are perfect for this cute little machine, and it is now $48 instead of $60 through the month of March. So it might be something that you would be interested in. So I'm going to be using this in a minute, but these are the plates that you need. It's very similar to the larger machine. And then it also has two different plates that are used with plate one that are for the smaller embossing folders that we have. And one is for the 3D and the other is for the regular embossing folders. But I'm not going to use those today, but I just wanted to point that out. And what is so cool about this, it just folds up. It's very, very lightweight, and it would be perfect if you have maybe arthritis or some issues where using something heavier would be a little bit harder. So I'm going to put that aside here and get my project out. Here we go. And I'm going to show you the card that I'm going to do today. And I'm going to modify it a little bit because I'm not using the large cut and emboss machine, but there are some dies with this set that just cut but don't cut out. You have the small machine. That's great, Margaret. It's just so easy to carry if you go places or want to stamp with friends, and take that instead of a big one because it is really lightweight. So these, let me zoom in here a little bit. You can see these a little bit better because they just cut into the paper but don't cut out. So I wanted to show you that on this. And then all I'm going to do, zoom back out again, is use some strips of paper. So we always have strips that are left over, and some other small scraps of paper that you might have. And then on this sample, this has been cut out of the designer series paper. So that makes it even better. Although there is a stamp set that goes with it. So there's the stamp set. And it's got the nicest greetings here. Happiest birthday wishes. Thank you. Sending all the hugs. And hey there. And I love the way we are now mixing the fonts so that you get some script and then some regular font. I don't know what the font is that we're actually using on this. So these are great. I just love it. And with that, let me pull out the pieces. I'm using Coastal Cabana that is cut to 4 1/4 by 11 and scored at 5 1/2. And I'll give that a nice crease here. And I'm using some basic white. This is going to go on the inside, and that's just 1/4 of an inch smaller, so that's 4 by 5 1/4. So that'll go on the inside. And then we have these smaller pieces that I have cut with some scraps of the designer paper. I'll show you the paper in just a second. These are 3 3/4 by 3/4. So just some strips of paper. So 3 of those. And I did stamp and die cut this, and I'll show you something like that in a minute. And then 2 pieces of scrap paper in Old Olive. And who would know that Old Olive goes with Coastal Cabana? Love it. And this is 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. And then the piece that's going to go on the top is 2 1/2 by 3 1/2. And it's that simple. So let me, before I start cutting things, show you the paper. And I have not yet cut this 12 by 12 paper into my typical, what I've been doing, cutting my paper into 4 by 6, and I get 6 pieces out of one 12 by 12, because I just opened this a couple days ago. So here's this, and some of the dies Let's see if this, nah, that's just a little bit too big. So some of the dies do fit on the paper. And there's the back of that in Pale Papaya. So the colors are just wonderful. Here's another one. So we've got Coastal Cabana, black, Old Olive on this one, some Pale Papaya. Here we've got an Evening Evergreen. Here's another one. Here's Coastal Cabana. Ooh, these are nice and big. Let's see, maybe this one, this die, nope, it doesn't really quite fit on that one either. But there is a stamp that goes with that. Hi Sue, welcome. And here we've got Old Olive, and I believe that's Pear Pizzazz. And this is the one that I've actually been using that does have the die to go with it. So I've got one small piece out with that. So to cut that whole thing and to cut this. And let's see if this one, so that goes with that. And they're not exact, but they're pretty close. Pretty close. Let's see, maybe it fits better with the blue or the Coastal Cabana. Yeah, it probably does. So sometimes they're made with a watercolor look. So they're not actually exact, and it's not a big deal if they don't actually line up. That one seems to a little bit better. So they're all good. I love that one. And that stripe, and then this one with just some black and white polka dots. Awesome paper. So let's put that down here. I think I'm done with that. Okay, so to go on the basic, or not the basic black, excuse me, on the Coastal Cabana, let's do some stamping first. And I'm going to grab, let's see, these little leaves here, and just put some background on here and use tone on tone with the Coastal Cabana. And just random to add something to the background. There we go, because some of that's going to get covered up in the middle. And I'm going to be using that again. So now let me grab the piece of basic white and do some stamping on that with Pale Papaya. And this is like a script. It's not supposed to be read or looked at or anything. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's just to give some texture and light background. So let's use Pale Papaya with that. In fact, I don't even know if it's supposed to look like it has, that anybody would be supposed to read it. So I don't know if it's upside down or not. We'll just have to go with it there. There we go. And put a little bit up there. That's good. And I will clean those later. And before I do anything else, I want to stamp Sending All the Hugs. I love that stamp set, or excuse me, that stamp. And let's do that also in Coastal Cabana. So we'll get the stamping done. And then a symbol. So Sending All the Hugs. Perfect. So I think I'm done with that one. And now let's put the card together. I'm going to put the basic white inside. And just use some Stampin' Seal for that. And I was getting ready to throw away one of the pieces of scrap from the designer paper, and there was just a small portion of this leaf, and I thought, let's cut that out and see. And it would just fit on the side here as just an extra little element, and nobody will ever know that that was on the side of the designer paper. So I'm going to add that on the inside. Let's get this adhesive going here. Sometimes when I just replace and put a new one in there, it just sometimes decides to do its own thing. So that's just going to go on the edge there. So there's that. And it just was a scrap that was ready to throw away. Let me give you an example of that from that paper. It was like this, just right on the side, or over here on the side. They're all different. So, don't discount all that extra paper that you might have on a scrap if there's something that you can use to cut out and add to either the inside or someplace else. Just kind of thinking outside the box on that one. Okay, next I'm going to put down just the piece of old olive. This doesn't have anything on it. And let me give you an idea where I got this design. I believe one of our very first virtual events from Stampin' Up. You know what? I always do this. I know that this paper is plain on both sides, so it doesn't make any difference where I put the adhesive, but I tend to turn it over anyway and put the adhesive on the back. Do you ever find yourself doing that? It's kind of a crazy thing. So that's going to go here in the lower right corner. But anyway, back to my story. One of our very first virtual events from Stampin' Up, when we could not meet in person, we were given supplies to use for a project then that was going to be done virtually. And I'm not sure where I put the card. Let me see if I can find it. I think it's behind me. Yes. There we go. And it was this card. And this was Mossy Meadow. I believe this was it was actually a couple years ago, because it was when Bumblebee was introduced. And some paper that went with the dragonfly. And these little ladybugs. And I looked at that, and it's just a simple design with strips of paper, strips of designer paper, and a little bit of design there. There wasn't anything with a big shot there. And I just really didn't care for this card that much. Maybe because of the colors that were used. It's pretty dark, but I really liked the way it came out on this one. So see what you think about that. So we've got that here. Now I've got 3 strips of paper, and doesn't make any difference how they go. So I'm going to use the front on two of them. I had some extras here. Which one's going to look the best? And again, it's going to get covered up a little bit, but enough to show. So those are going to go on here, and they're going to go all the way over to the edge. And about a 1/4 inch down from the top. So I'm going to do the top one and the bottom one, and then put the middle one between the two. There we go. And then put the stripe one in here. Okay, those look pretty straight. Okay, so now we've got this ready to go on top. And now let's cut out this flower. This was a scrap that was left from some other things that I had cut. So this is the one that I'm going to run through the mini cut and emboss machine. I did stamp and cut one out, and that was this one. And what I did here, I took a wink of Stella and just squeezed that enough to get the little glitter in there, but it also pulled in some of the ink. And this was in Old Olive, but I really want to stay with the Coastal Cabana. So this one fits this die. And just to be sure it doesn't move, I'm going to take a piece of washi tape, or you can use Post-it note. So I want to put that right here so it doesn't move. Put this on my little machine. So I got plate 1, a plate 2, my paper, my sandwich of the paper, and then another plate 2. And with the mini, there's a beveled edge here on both ends of the cutting plates. And you want to offset those just a little bit, and it will go through the machine like a breeze, in a breeze. And kind of start it through, and there it goes. So that's just so handy to keep right by you when you are creating. So let's pull that washi tape off. And sometimes you have to watch if your tape or even Post-it can be sticky enough that it might tear on the paper. So just be careful of that. Sometimes you can just stick it on your clothes to get some of the sticky off, and that works. So now let's put that aside. And add this to here. And for this, then I'm going to add Stampin' Dimensionals to the back of the basic white. And I always like to put a couple in the middle so that it doesn't collapse. There we go, one more. And they're shiny, so I know that they're all off of there. And now I'm just going to add this here, also with dimensionals. Then I'll show you the sample again. Yes, Sue. And then I have some of our basic twine, and I like to take two colors together. This isn't the linen thread. Our twines are in, let's see, there's black, I've got them in here, in my little cheese shaker, black, a cream, a white, and then more like a crumb cake color, and they come as a combo pack. And I'm going to take two of those together and tie a bow. I'll do the bow tying before I cut them off of the spool. And I know they do look good together. That's why I like so many things that, well, not so many, but everything coordinates, and the people who create these things make our life so much easier with color coordination. So there we've got a little, maybe that's a little bit too big, bow. And cut that off. And use a glue dot or two. That's my take a pick tool. And kind of roll that up a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and put it on the leaf and maybe use another one for good measure. Okay, and not quite done just yet. Let me put these parts away. Okay, where did okay, I had a wink of Stella here earlier. Where did it go? Okay. Hang out just a second while I grab this. Okay. If you've never used Wink of Stella, I just got a new one. And it's the clear. That's the only color that we carry. Don't be dismayed if it doesn't work right away, because there is a little black piece on here that keeps it from losing any of the glitter stuff that's inside until it's actually used. So in order to prime and make sure that you can use the Wink of Stella, you want to screw this off and take this little black thing off. Okay? and that can be thrown away unless you want to keep it, put it back on there for protection. Okay, typically I don't need to do that. And then there's a little piece there that is going to pierce down through this, and that will start releasing the fluid that's inside. And then on the side there's an area that says push here, and you can color with it, but what you need to do is kind of prime it first until you see some of that glitter. I don't know if you can see that. Some of that glitter come through here, and then it will come down. Whoop, there we go. That's exactly what I wanted to do. You can, I'm going to use that, don't worry, that little dot's going to get used. But you can add glitter, because we don't carry real glitter anymore. I think it became an environmental issue, and glitter was a love-hate. People either loved it or they hated it. So apparently it probably was not being sold enough. But anyway, I'm going to use this and grab my bone folder and then tap with your bone folder to put some glitter on that way. And it makes me happy to do that. I just love Wink of Stella. Then I'll wipe that off of my thing here. And just tap that down. And so now we've got some glitter on there. I don't know if you can see it in the light, but perhaps you can. And then one more thing, and it'll be done. So then I'll clean that all off. Also, as part of this suite of products, there are these cute little sea glass pebbles. Let me get that off there before it gets on my card. Faux sea glass shapes. Now, who would have ever thought of that? They are so cute. And these are here in probably the Coastal Cabana, whatever that light green is, maybe soft seafoam, and also in a clear white. So I will use one of them, flipped off of there anyway. I will use my take a pick tool and add some of these to the card. And it's just something a little bit different than the gems that we usually have. Okay, there's 3, let's use 5 today. I like to use an odd number. Let's see, let's put one of the white ones on the leaf. And they do stick. Yes, there we go. And one more little one. There we go. And they just add enough of an extra element to the card that is so cute. So there is our card for the day. And there's this one. And then this was my original inspiration. Same card design, just updated, something new, something different. This one's about 2 years old on the left. And then this one is for today. And let me show you a couple of other samples I have with this suite. This was one I just saw. Again, a lot of white space on here and some strips of basic white, and one of those designs that I said didn't really cut out but cut in to make a design on your card like my original one This was my original, and this was today. And then this is that leaf cut out, another leaf cut out. So these were both done on the mini machine. A little ribbon, and then thank you. So just a plain basic white one. Then here was one. I will show you at one point this design, which is called an, let me think of the name of it, a recessed panel card with the cut there to show the inside of the card there. So that was another one. Thank you, Sue. I really enjoyed making this, and it was fun. And a lot of glitter on this one. A lot of that splattered wink of Stella on this one. So that's what I have for today. And since I'm now live streaming on both places, YouTube and Facebook, I may be doing more of these. I'm not sure. I'm considering doing something maybe on a Sunday afternoon, maybe a coffee and a card on a Sunday afternoon. So we'll see how that goes. Whatever happens, happens. But I am so glad you're here today. Have a great rest of the week. Stay dry in Australia. I hope everything goes okay there. Thanks for being here, Margaret. I really appreciate it. And I will see you